This video is brought to you by Against the Flow of Mississippi. Against the Flow of Mississippi is a book about Jake Fayard, a Marine veteran who is unhappy with the political machine running the state of Mississippi. He decides to fight the corruption from the inside. Jake will face more challenges than he ever has and will stand up for what he thinks is right. His notoriously hot temper will push him to the edge of murder, along with his friend and brother Kobe Barhanovich. Together, they will fight the system and give the power back to the citizens of Mississippi.
Against the Flow of Mississippi was written by Anthony Oksenholt and was published by Oksenholt Biloxi Publishing, LLC. A link to the book will be placed in the description below.
Yeah, this a revolution in our time. Everybody's fighting, change coming, yes. That's why it's an acronym for riot. Everybody has a voice. Don't you dare stay silent. If you say nothing, you are an accessory to violence.
They've had their say. Seems like they've had that kind of say around here for too long. I had to stand up for myself alone. I went in there to remind them that somewhere in this world there's still a little law and order left. To let them know the only kind of terms that their kind understand is that they can't bribe or threaten their way out of what they did. Let them do this to me and get away with it, and you give them the eternal right to do the same damn thing to any one of you.
Access 228, your host, Anthony Oksenholt, where we report the facts and we are not for sale. If you have a news story or something that's on your mind, please feel free to give us a call at 228-337-2099. Be glad to have you on. Thank you for listening, and we do appreciate all that you do to support us and keep free and independent journalism doing what we do best. All right, y'all. Access 228, your host, Anthony Oksenholt. So, I am going to read something. This is in regards to the shooting, the ICE murder, in my opinion, of Mr. Pretti up there in Ohio. What I am reading is not original, not to me. I'm going to go ahead and give credit where credit due. This was posted by what I consider one of the finest firearms and defensive tactics instructors that I think I have ever fucking met. This is put out by Mr. R.D. Jones, who currently works for the Ohio Department of Rehabilitation and Corrections. If you've seen my other videos on when I got assaulted when I worked up there, I think you'll know who I'm talking about because I called him out. Anyway, I'm going to read his post, and then we're going to talk about this shit. He posted this on Facebook about 3 hours ago, and I haven't read it all, but from what I have read, he's 100% fucking correct. Starts out, so I am making this post in regard to the latest shooting in the news. I am only coming from, excuse me, I just woke up, y'all, my bad. I am coming only from the perspective of a guy who pushed for CCW in my state while I was a college student, proudly got the license within months of the law being passed, became an instructor, and taught months of basic law being passed. And taught the basic CCW license. Let me read this over. I'm coming only from the perspective of a guy who pushed for CCW in my state while I was a college student, proudly got the license within months of the law being passed, became an instructor, and taught the basic CCW license class to hundreds of people for about a decade, have taken hundreds of hours of firearms training, have carried a gun that longer than some reading this has been alive, have carried a gun at a protest, and currently teach about violence and de-escalation through my small company and have been requested to do that in 4 states for professional organizations and everyday people. This is a short resume, and this is not even taking into account my actual profession, which has all kinds of fun rules about what I can say and what I can't say about it, so I won't include that here. Take all that for what you will. As for politics, I do not have a red hat nor blue hat. If you've ever heard me talk about the human violence and tribalism, as well as the way social media and parties adversarial to the U.S. know about the dynamics of deep conflict and how to make people believe and do things they wouldn't normally do, then you know what I'm talking about. The point is not to dunk on the blue team or the red team. If you've read this far, some points to consider. 1. Shut up about the subject having 2 magazines, and that is a sign that he was ready to cause maximum damage to law enforcement. Please. The president, in one of his statements, indicated that having 2 magazines and a gun ready to go was somehow a sign of intent of criminal behavior. That is an argument that has been used against me for years as to the why do you need that by the gun control crowd? If you're pro Second Amendment, you need to speak out against this as a non-issue, because it is a non-issue. If you know how a pistol works, you know that the most common malfunction you will get is a bad magazine. There's not a cop in the country who does not carry at least 2, most carry 3. Carrying an extra one is common practice, and I have to do it a lot. So that one is dead. Shut up on that. I agree 100%. Most people like me who carry, oh yeah, I carry more than one. Because when you get a bad magazine, yeah, or you might have a bad round in that magazine. It fucking happens. Especially if you load your own or buy cheap ammo. Number 2, quit with the carrying a gun in presence of law enforcement can escalate and be deadly, please. I have over the years interacted with law enforcement officers in the carrying out of their duties with everything from an AK rifle in my truck to a Glock on my belt to a 9mm in my front pocket of my trousers while standing at the window of a patrol car taking a statement. These sorts of interactions happen every day, all day. Nothing bad happens nearly ever. This is another crap argument that people who claim to be pro 2A keep saying in order to try to dunk on the blue team and it needs to stop. You damn right. Oh, you fucking hey right. You know how many times I've walked up to a cop with a gun on my hip? Mississippi became open carry back in July 1st, 2013. Well, I was dealing with some personal shit, so I was out of town, or out of state, really, most of the end of 2013. But Black Spring Break, which is when we had a bunch of cops all up and down the beach, 2014, I walked up with my 45 on my hip, walked right up to Jackie Rhodes. God bless you, Jackie. I miss you, man. Jackie Rhodes, Biloxi PD. You know what? Yeah, we might have known each other, but I guarantee you, had I been doing something wrong, he'd have said something or took my ass to jail, because that's just how Jackie was. Damn, that was a good man. I miss him. God rest your soul, Jackie. Number 3. Follow the damn rules of CCW law, but don't try to point out all the stuff that is illegal all the time to try to dunk on the other side. So far, from what I gather, the subject in the shooting only crime in the CCW side was that he did not have an ID. In Ohio, before constitutional carry, you needed a license and a regular ID on you if you had the gun. Same in Mississippi prior to 2000. I think we went full constitutional carry in 2017 or 18. I know I was down in Florida when that happened, but the law was the same in Mississippi. In Minnesota, you need the same currently. Is that a violation? Yep. Is that using draconian CCW laws to somehow dunk on the other side? A good strategy? Hell no. Stop it. Exactly. I agree with this. Number 4, the Farnham rule applies. Don't go to stupid places with stupid people doing stupid things. As a gun carrier, you are the one that has the gun, so you don't need to go and get involved in the stupid stuff anymore. I said earlier that I've carried a gun in protest. And if it would have gotten the least bit violent, which it did not, I had an exit plan to get the hell out of there. I agree with that. Whatever cause you are supporting does not go good with bodies in the streets at protest ever. Either yours or somebody else's. So make your voice heard and exercise your rights under the First Amendment. But when violence happens and you feel the crowd getting out of control, you don't need to get out of control from them. You get out. Live and pray you fight another day, because you are not allowed to get stupid and caught up in the group's primate dance because you have a fucking gun on you. End of story. I want to comment on this. I always say an armed society is a polite society. When I'm carrying a gun, I've actually noticed that my behavior changes a little bit. I'm an asshole naturally, but when I'm carrying a gun, I'm actually more polite, believe it or not. And I try to be you know, as polite as possible, but I'm still an asshole. Um, when I'm carrying a gun, I walk different, I talk different. I'm actually more apt to try to de-escalate than I am to go to somebody's ass. And the reason is because I know I have the power to take somebody's life right somewhere around my waistband. Or maybe in a shoulder holster. Or maybe I'm open carrying. And I just don't want to. Don't get me wrong, in a self-defense situation where you leave me absolutely no choice, I will 100% take a life. But I don't want to. Number 5, defense of others as a gun-carrying civilian is bad. Sorry, but that's just how it is. The law is written that way, and the courts consistently rule that way. And while you may not like it, it is the way it is the way it is, so long as there is rule of law. So don't come to anyone's aid. Get out of there, and for the love of God, if it is cops getting out of control on a third party, get out of there double time. You absolutely will not win. Our subject here is a great example of this. Not my people, not my problem. If you want to get involved, then don't carry a gun. Into discussion. I actually disagree with this. I disagree with this. I say defense of a third party with a firearm against a forcible felony is acceptable pretty much anywhere. I'm not sure about Minnesota. Jones lives in Ohio. I'm not sure about up there, but I know in Mississippi, if I witness a kidnapping, that's a forcible felony. I can absolutely intervene with my gun. Now, does it change the fact that it's law enforcement? Yeah, that changes things quite a bit. I personally don't consider ICE law enforcement, but, you know, they don't act like it, so that's why they don't have my respect on it. However, he is right that you're not going to win. If you have one gun and they have six, simple math here. Now if they have six and you have 15 buddies with you that are all carrying, you may have a chance, but it's still going to go very bad for you. Unless you can articulate why you did it in court and convince a jury to vote not guilty. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be very hard, and you're gonna do some time in prison. Well, you're gonna do some time in jail anyway, at least until you go to trial. And that's assuming you survive to go to trial. And then you may go to prison if you don't convince a jury that you were acting in good faith and self defense. Number six, probably the least important but still worth pointing out, is carry itself. Our subject was walking around with a $2,100 gun that was big, bulky, and set up for competition or duty use. He also had it in the small of his back. That is telling me that he rarely ever carried. I agree with that. There is not a respectable instructor in the country that will ever recommend small of the back or as a good carrying position for anything. I 100% agree with that. The subject seemed like he brought the gun, never carried it, and it's not hard for me to draw the conclusion that he shoved it into his pants almost as an afterthought. That's not how this is done. He has the right to carry it however he wants and to carry whatever he wants. Don't get me wrong, but your lack of experience is showing for people who actually do this sort of stuff seriously on a regular basis. Anyway, stay safe out there, people. You're on your own, that is all. You know what? I have to address a few things in this one. First off, I've said this before. About the most expensive firearm I'll carry on me as a everyday carry is a Glock. The reason that I say that is the most expensive gun that I will carry on me is because you can get a good Glock for about $500. So theoretically, for what he paid for his, I could have bought 4 Glocks. If you use it, it's going to wind up in a police locker. You may or may not get it back. I would rather have a $500 gun laid up in a police locker than a $2,100 gun. Another thing, as an instructor, you don't ever go straight to deadly force. You don't ever go straight to pulling your gun. And if you have to get into a physical fight and you're somebody that's a lot smaller than me and I put my 300-pound ass on you and we're on the ground, I'm on top of you, number one, you're going to hurt your back. Number two, you can't reach back here to get your gun while I'm on top of you and you're flat on your back. It does you no good. And I'm going to throw this in here too. Anybody who's going to carry needs to find a range that will allow them to draw from the holster First off, you unload that sumbitch and you practice pulling it and drawing it from the holster with an unloaded weapon. And then you practice, once you get that down, you figure out where you're comfortable at. Again, as Jones pointed out, not the small of your fucking back. You figure out where on your waistband or shoulder holster, wherever you want to carry it, is comfortable, that you can get it out fast and go to work. Then you work on drawing it hot and putting rounds down range on paper accurately on target. And I'm going to tell you something else. A headshot's a fail with me. I don't teach shooting at the head. This is intent to kill. This is intent to stop. Big difference. Overall, I think Jones did a good job of writing this up. Again, I consider this man one of the finest defensive tactics and firearms instructors I think I've seen in a long time. And he is 100% correct on what he said and what he meant. Anyway, y'all take care. Good morning. Anthony Oksenholt, Access 228.